Something happened to grocery shopping. Not gradually, not quietly. It vanished almost overnight, and nobody noticed until it was already gone. The 1970s American grocery store wasn't just a different place to buy food. It was a completely different relationship with food, with money, with strangers, with time itself. And the reasons it felt so different have almost nothing to do with what other videos you've seen talk about. Today we're going deeper. The psychological architecture behind it, the forgotten economics, the bizarre corporate secrets, and the specific details so buried, most historians of retail don't even mention them. Let's go back. Part 1. The store was designed to make you spend more, and it worked perfectly. Every 1970s grocery store shared something almost nobody talks about today. The layout wasn't accidental. In 1972, a retail consultant named Victor Gruen, the same man who invented the modern shopping mall, published findings that grocery stores deliberately placed essentials at the back. Milk, bread, eggs, the things you came for, always at the furthest possible point from the entrance. Why? Every extra aisle you walked through was another opportunity to spend. But here's what made the 1970s version uniquely powerful. There was no data, no tracking, no algorithm. Store managers made layout decisions based purely on observation and instinct. They would stand at the end of aisles watching customers. If people slowed down near a display, it stayed. If they walked past, it moved. Human intuition running a retail system. And it worked better than most modern algorithms. The average 1970s shopper bought 27% more than they planned on every single trip. Not because they were careless, because the store was architected to feel natural while guiding every step. Part 2. The price tag had a darker story than anyone remembers. Everyone knows about the price stamper. That purple ink stamped directly onto every can, every box, every jar. But here's what nobody tells you about it. The price stamper created an accidental psychological phenomenon that retailers have been chasing ever since. Price visibility anxiety. When every single item had its price physically stamped on it, shoppers could calculate their running total in real time, in their heads, while they shopped. Studies from the early 1970s found that American shoppers were accurate to within 4% of their final total before they ever reached the checkout. They knew exactly what they were spending. Every single item. When barcodes replaced stamped prices in the late 1970s, that ability disappeared almost immediately. Within 5 years of barcode adoption, the average shopper's ability to estimate their grocery total dropped by over 40%. The price stamper wasn't just a labeling system. It was the last tool that kept shoppers financially conscious in real time. Part 3. The woman who figured out grocery stores before anyone listened. In 1971, a woman named Bernice Fitzgibbon discovered something grocery stores didn't want to hear. Women made 85% of all grocery purchasing decisions in the 1970s. But every single store was designed by men. For men. Here's what that meant in practice. Men shop in straight lines. Enter, find item, leave. The long parallel aisles made perfect sense for that. But women didn't shop that way. They doubled back. They compared. They picked up pasta, then walked back for the sauce that went with it. They shopped by connection, not by list. Bernice proved that stores grouping related products together, pasta next to sauce, bread next to butter, saw customers spending 19% more, without a single price change, without a single promotion, just by understanding how women actually moved. Stores ignored her completely. Why? Because in 1971, a woman explaining female behavior to male executives wasn't treated as expertise. It was treated as an opinion. Her findings sat untouched for 20 years, until the 1990s, when data finally proved exactly what she already knew. Part 4. Why couponing was survival, not a hobby. Everyone thinks 1970s couponing was about being frugal. It wasn't. It was about staying afloat. Here's what actually happened. The 1973 oil crisis didn't just raise gas prices. It broke the entire food system. Most people never made this connection. Fertilizer is made from oil. When oil prices tripled, fertilizer tripled. Farmers planted less. Food production dropped. And grocery prices didn't just rise. They became impossible to predict. Ground beef could jump 15% between 1 week and the next. Families couldn't budget, couldn't plan, couldn't rely on anything staying the same price twice. So coupons stopped being about saving a few cents. They became a financial shield. Part 5. What the checkout line was secretly doing to society. The checkout line was slow, 4 to 7 minutes per customer. No scanners, manual entry, change counted by hand. Today, under 90 seconds at self-checkout. But in those 4 to 7 minutes, something happened that nobody planned. People talked to each other. Not just small talk, real conversation. Strangers compared prices, shared recipes, complained together, looked at each other's carts and asked questions. Rich, poor, different neighborhoods, different backgrounds. Same line, same staples. Equal footing. Sociologists called it one of the last genuinely democratic public spaces in America. A place where strangers from completely different worlds regularly spoke to each other, simply because they had to wait together. Then self-checkout arrived. The wait disappeared. The conversation disappeared with it. Nobody decided to end it. Nobody voted for it. Efficiency just quietly killed it. And not a single person noticed it leaving. Part 6. Why you remember it so vividly. Here's the strangest part. The 1970s grocery store was accidentally perfect for human memory. The smell of fresh coffee at the entrance, the squeak of metal cartwheels, the cha-ching of the register, the weight of paper bags. Neuroscientists now know that when smell, sound, touch, and sight hit together, the brain remembers it almost permanently. Modern stores are deodorized, silent, identical everywhere, forgettable by design. The 1970s grocery store wasn't better because it was simpler. It was different because it was human at every single point. A layout built by observation, prices you could see and calculate, a checkout line that created community, a sensory experience your brain encoded for life. And somewhere between the barcode and the self-checkout screen, all of it quietly disappeared. Not because anyone decided it should go, because efficiency never stops to ask what it's replacing. If this made you see the grocery store differently, share it with someone who remembers the sound of that mechanical register. And subscribe to The Royal Whisper, because history is full of rooms, systems, and moments that disappeared before anyone thought to ask why. See you in the next one.